Alrighty, guys, welcome in. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to get connected here while we wait. I don't know. I just felt like I needed to do a show this week that was a little different. That I had to do something that was uplifting and positive and happy and just, no doom and gloom, no scary stuff. I mean, everybody knows ransomware bad, antivirus good. You guys have that by now. I mean, every week there's another ransomware story, and every week they're newsworthy. Last week it was Utah. This week it was a good one, though. It was like somebody, I can't believe that Russian guy actually came here and tried to run the scam from inside the U.S. I mean, that was some intense stuff. Good morning, Russell. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you being here. So basically this is the AfterSchrock. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome in. This is where we talk about all the stuff that we can't talk about during the radio show for various reasons. So number one, can't talk about it during the radio show because it doesn't fit. It's just not relevant to the broadcast. Number two, I have a pretty serious time constraint on the radio. I can't be on the radio longer than the hour that I have, because that's the hour we pay for. A lot of people don't realize that we actually pay for the time that we're on the air. So when you guys come into the service centers, and if you're going to have something done to your computer, please have it done at Schrock, because the money that we generate, the revenue that we generate from that pays for the program in part. So that's we're sponsored by the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. Now they're great. All right, Wesley, just curious what time you guys are supposed to be on in Kansas City. The radio station's broadcast schedule does not list your show. We sent them an email about that. Let me double check and see if that's been fixed, because we did send them an email about that to get us on there. Not only that, but to get our logo up and everything else. You have to get into like the weekend schedule, I think. Bear with me just a second here while I pull all this up. Okay, gotcha. Well, biscuits, yeah, it doesn't look like it is. Let's see, compute this KMBZ. Yep, not even Google knows about it. So yeah, we are on 98.1 at 8 in the morning. So you can tune in right now, actually, and hear last week's show. Which is really cool, because when I was at WHO, I didn't realize that in the studio there, like here in Nebraska, the weekends, this place is deserted. Like, they bring in a board operator for my show, and then she leaves after my show. So I didn't realize at KMBZ on the weekends that they have on Sunday a full complement of employees working the studio. That place is manned all the time. And so I was talking to Michael, who does a lot of our production work over there, and I said, hey, Emily gets me the program, the recording of the program, like usually by 8:30. If I email that to you, is it possible for you to edit that and get it on air at 2? So that way we don't have this week tape delay between the Schrock show here and the Schrock show in Des Moines. And oh my gosh, it was amazing. They were able to get it all taken care of. They were able to get all of the information figured out for us, and then boom, it was done. So this is going to be the first week that the show that we just did right now is going to get emailed over to WHO, and they're going to edit it, produce it, and get it live on the air at 2 o'clock, which is really a huge advantage for the company, because it's really hard, guys. Like, if we have a sale, like the maintenance checkup sale that ends next Sunday, right now the sales and specials are different from Des Moines, but that's not always going to be the case. Once the grand opening is done, they're going to fall into the regular Schrock promotional schedule like all the other service centers. And so having that radio show air on the same day allows me to say it ends today. The sale ends today. And I don't have to, float it around. Like in the past, what we had to do is we said the sale ends today, but you'll notice it stayed on the website for an extra week. And we stopped talking about it. And it was an on or do not offer in the service centers, but we stopped talking about it. And then after the show aired in Des Moines, then we would stop it. And it was a rough way to run specials and sales and things like that. So having all the shows broadcasting and being heard on the same day is a huge advantage. Now, of course, KFOR in Lincoln is still heard on Saturday afternoons at 10, and KMBZ is still heard at a different time, and it's still a pre-recorded show. But this leads me, I'm going to ask this week, is there a way that we can send KMBZ the show? Now, the turnaround time is a little harder there. It's like pretty much they would have to be recording the feed live somehow from here. And unfortunately, iHeart, of all the things, does not have syndication capabilities. So there is no system in place to syndicate the show unless we build the system to syndicate the show, which we could do unless something like today happens where I come in and this microphone is brand new. This is not the mic I've been using every week. And so, okay, new equipment is nice, right? And the boom arm is even new. It's all tight and firm and really good. The zip ties are new. Everything is nice. But the audio was hot. It was hot in my ears. It was hot everywhere. Like the gain something was different about the gain on the microphone. So all of my preset settings for the Compute This Facebook speed were a little distorted. So I apologize for that. I kept trying to adjust it on the fly as I was doing the show, but it's really difficult to do everything that I have to do and then do that at the same time. We got an application from a guy this week who has experience in radio and TV production. And he wants to, he was doing private gigs basically. He was just like a freelance producer. And I thought, oh my gosh, if we hired this guy for a computer repair technician, he could be a producer for the show. That could be part of his job, is to come in here for a few hours and plan the show throughout the week and line up the guests and everything. So Thor doesn't forget important things like, hey, make sure you give away the computer to June. Yeah, whoops. June called in. Thank Lord June called in and was able to get that taken care of. I didn't even make that on the show agenda because my brain's like a sieve lately because there's so much going on. So yeah, it would be nice to have an assistant. But then we got other applicants who were literally home-run, wholesome, solid computer techs. And, you know, unfortunately, when you're a grown-up, you have to make responsible decisions. And the responsible decision is, I can afford to hire one person. Should I hire a guy who's got intermediate computer experience, who has production experience that I would really like to have? Or do I hire this guy that I know is going to take care of my customers because he's done it before somewhere else and he's done it well? I got to hire that guy. You know, so the time will come. The time will come, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So on the AfterSchrock today, I have an idea, and ideas are dangerous things with Thor, because as Kim will tell you, the lovely Kimberly will tell you that I have an 80-20 principle functioning all the time. I'm 100% ideas. 80% of them are garbage. And 20% of them are nuggets. And somebody has to sift through the garbage to find the nuggets. So I suppose I'm asking you guys to dig through the trash today a bit and listen to this idea and let me know what you think. Here's the idea. In a nutshell, we at the Des Moines Service Center, we had a gentleman come in who he wasn't a minister, but he worked interfaith with a number of churches and charitable organizations in the Des Moines community, especially in the lower income neighborhoods, basically doing charity work with churches. And so one of the things that when he was in there, I said, you know, it just occurred to me, I happened to be at the front desk, and I thought to myself, you know, this coronavirus pandemic has been really tough on businesses. But then I haven't really thought about how tough it has been on churches. You know, you not being able to meet, and yes, doing virtual is great, but you know, do people tithe as much during a virtual service that they can tune in and tune out of without any social environment? Or do people tithe the same? Do some people tithe more because they don't think the church needs it? Now, some churches weren't able to meet because some churches meet in schools or they share buildings with other churches. And like our Boy Scout troop literally got cut out of our meeting place. The church that we were meeting in, it's not that they're bad. They're fine church. It's just that we can't have outside groups in the church right now because of the pandemic. Totally get it. Where are Boy Scout troops supposed to meet? Like, you can't meet anywhere. We're meeting outside right now, which is going to work until October probably. But then we're going to need to find a place to meet if we're going to keep going. And our charter says that we're supposed to meet whenever school is in session. So, yeah, it's interesting. So I digress. Anyway, so I told him, I said, hey, listen, I understand that a lot of churches and nonprofit groups especially have really been dinged by the pandemic. There's not as much charitable giving. There's not as much, church service attendance and stuff like that going on. And everybody's going virtual, so technology is more important than ever, but there's less money than ever to buy and maintain technology. Right now, maintenance checkups are free, hours of labor are free. If you want to pass that along to your churches and your organizations, if they want to bring their computers in to get them maintenance, repaired, upgraded, whatever needs to be done, right now a lot of that's free because of the grand opening. So please pass the word to them and have them come in. And he was super thankful. He asked if we could make a flyer up, which we did, to give him, and he's going to circulate it among all of the different churches and charity groups that he works with in the Des Moines area, which was great. I thought, okay, that was awesome. So I'm driving home after that, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, it's too bad that we couldn't do something like that when all the service centers. Because the other day I had a meeting with a guy. I told you I had a meeting with there's another computer repair shop in Lincoln that is looking to maybe get out of the game, and they're trying to find a suitor or some graceful means of exit that provides a return on investment for them, and gets them out of a lease, I think, as part of it, or at least occupies the space that they're in. And they have a beautiful facility. It's not designed as a Schrock facility, though, but it's beautiful nonetheless. Just because it doesn't look like one of our shops doesn't mean it's not beautiful, but it doesn't look like one of our shops, and I was pretty clear about that. Like, we would have to gut this place. I know it's beautiful, but we will have to gut it and make it a Schrock service center. People in Lincoln have been asking for a North Service Center for a long time, too. It would be directly across the street from one of our competitors in town that's still in business but struggling. So that would be good. It would be advantageous for us to be front and center there. Why am I bringing all this up? The idea occurred to me that we need to do more charitable work, because when I was this is where I was going with that. The gentleman said, "Hey Thor, your website has holes in it," and I was like, "Wow, that's rude." Like, oh my gosh, I know there's a couple of pages, like our corporate service page needs some work, and I know about that, but it's been like low priority stuff. We'll get to it when we get to it, kind of thing. We have a lot going on. But no, what he meant was, when I went to the website to go look at, I saw, here's our charitable tab. I thought, what is the last charitable thing we posted about? Because I know we do things. We give away gift cards all the time. We help out, churches and other groups all the time with technology needs and repairs and upgrades and things. But we never post about it anymore. And so it can lead people to believe that maybe we don't do it anymore. So yeah, that's a problem. So anyway, I was like, I went to go look and see what our last charitable thing was, and the website just came up with a blank page. Like, it didn't work. It was literally a hole in our website. It was a database error. We got it figured out. All the content was there. It just wasn't pulling up for some reason. All fixed. But it got me thinking, we need to do more charity work. We need to be more active in the communities that we're in and be a force for positive good in the communities that we are in. And there's little things. There's all the virtue signaling stuff you can do. Like, a lot of our competitors signed up with this organization called TAG. It's called Together a Greater Good. And it basically takes a percentage of your purchase and donates it to charity. But, who gets it? How do they get it? The business doesn't have any control. You don't have any control. I would rather give our time and talent in areas that we have time and talent to give to people that we know are going to need it, and where we can actually make a real difference for people. And so the thought occurs to me that churches everywhere are hurting for revenue right now, and I'm sure a lot of churches have IT needs that need to be met, and that was where this all came from. I was like, well, we could offer a special deal to churches where we take care of their stuff, at a discounted rate or a free rate or something like that. But then the thought occurred to me, what if we did some kind of like Together a Greater Good gives 10% of every purchase back to a charity? So what if instead of doing just something for the church's computers, what if we offered the congregation a benefit? What if we said, as the congregation of this church, you can come in, we will give you a discount, we'll give you a maintenance checkup on special, or a maintenance checkup for free, for example. And then if there is something that needs to be done to your computer and you choose to have Schrock do it, we will tie 10% of that sale back to your church. Not some church, your church. Our new online system that we were using for workflow management allows us to track how customers heard of us with extreme precision now. And so it'd be very easy for us to assign you to a church and then basically track that was the referral method. So I guess I want to find out what you guys think of the idea, because the thing that concerns me more than anything, I want you to understand, this is coming from a place of understanding that we need to do more in our community, that I want to do more in the community. On the other hand, we're also a business, and we can't give away everything for free to everybody. And if we offered everyone in town who goes to church a free maintenance checkup, that would get a little overwhelming really quick. But if we could do it in such a way that the church received a benefit, and it cost enough that people were like, okay, I'm not going to run out and get 25 of them to help my church. It's not like cutting off box tops. Maybe there's a way we could pull this off and make it work and generate some real good. But I'm really worried it's going to look like trying to profiteer off of the congregation of a church. and that's not what this is about. So I guess I want to hear your thoughts on it. Is this something that you think that would work? Is this something that if your church came out and said, if you need computer help, go to Schrock because they donate 10% back to our church? Is that something that would sway your decision? Is that something that would, I don't know, if you are involved, if you're a deacon or on a board of a church, is that something that the church would consider? Why or why not? Because I obviously don't want to put a bunch of effort into creating this little program and then launching it and find out that, well, no, as churches we don't want to do that. And there's always things that I don't know about. I'm not an expert in the field of faith initiatives, so this is why I ask questions. So that was the big idea. So I wanted to see what you guys had to think about that. All right, thanks for coming back, Roger. Good to have you. Winston, yeah, audio sounds fine. Thank you, Winston. Yeah, this is because it's on the same camera we use for the AfterSchrock every week, and it's not my new microphone. But thank you for joining us, and I appreciate you being the official audio technician of the Schrock Innovations computer program. Appreciate it. Mark says, good morning. I know you will work hard to keep up the great level of service at Schrock no matter how large of a conglomerate it may become. Okay, somebody the other day said, congratulations on having a national company. And that hit me. I was like, what? I'm like, I don't like to think of us as a national company. And maybe someday, but not now, not yet, not right this minute. Number one, we have 3 service centers in Nebraska and we have 1 in Iowa. So technically, yes, we are multi-state, which could make us considered to be national. I will take the more modest approach and call us a regional computer company. I'm not going to get on there and say national computer company. Way back in the day when Schrock was first getting started and Thor was not as, I don't know. I had more ambitions, let's say, for the sake of ambition. And I put a map of the United States on our website. And there was a search function that you could search for the Schrock Innovation Service Center closest to you. And see, it doesn't matter what you put in for your address because it would always find the one service center that we had in Lincoln. That was it. So if you were in like Oregon, it would say your closest service center is Lincoln. And like the map was completely not useful, didn't do anything, but projected the appearance of being a national company. So it's kind of funny because 21 years later now, I'm completely the opposite way. I drive to Des Moines twice a week to be in that service center twice a week so that I was talking to Parker about this. I'm like, it's important that we are there because that X factor that happens when you're a part of a community as opposed to serving a community. So a great example is Chick-fil-A. Everybody likes Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A does a lot of good work. Chick-fil-A is a wonderful company, but they are not a local company. They employ local people. They do good charitable works in local communities, but they're not a local company. So I don't understand, like, when is that going to happen to us? When do we cross that line from being a local company? Even though I live in Nebraska, I consider us a local small business in Des Moines. On the door when you leave, it says in print, we understand you have choices, and we appreciate you choosing us and keeping it local. Yes, we employ local people. Yes, we pay local property taxes, but so does Chick-fil-A, right? So at what point are you not a local business anymore or a small business anymore? And that's something that I feel confident saying that I am still a local and small business, but when you ask me to pinpoint exactly why I feel that way, it gets a little fuzzy. I'm like, why do I feel that way? Is it because that I feel like each of my service centers is like a child? Like it requires guidance and it requires monitoring and it requires coaching and training and educating, and I take satisfaction from my service centers doing well, serving people, making people's technology work for them, doing what they're intended to do, what they're designed to do. Opening this new service center was, from an energy standpoint, I never remember being this drained when I did the others. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. Maybe it's because of the pandemic. Maybe it's because of a combination of all the factors. But the construction process was butter smooth. The stock and inventory process, butter smooth. The hiring process, given that we were hiring people from another state and moving them to Omaha to train before we moved them back, we got some grade A caliber people. If you've worked with Shelley, you understand that. If you've worked with Justin or Logan or Tom, you understand that. These guys are great. They know what they're doing, and they're good, solid people. We interviewed probably 50, 60 people for that service center, and we found 4 people. And we wanted 5. So we still have an ad up. We're still looking for the 5th one. We haven't found him yet, or her yet. But anyway, so yeah, it's we definitely, Mark, we do want to keep things local and keep things small, because you lose something when you become the Best Buy conglomerate where the computer answers the phone and tells you to press 1 or press 2 or press 3. I feel like you've lost something at that point. Now we do, our computers will answer the phone if we can't, but the default is, our policy is, a human being answers every call within 2 rings. And if we can't do that because we have customers in front of us, policy number 2 says a customer in front of you is always more important than a customer on the phone. So always default to the customer in front of you and let the phone system do its job. So if the phone system does answer the phone, it will give you some options. It'll ask if you want to leave a voicemail. It'll ask if you want to hold. It'll ask if you're calling about a data recovery, because it'll transfer you to the data recovery lab. Or if you're calling for a website, it'll transfer you over to a net in Schrock Interactive. Because that's what we're going to do when we answer the phone anyway. Get you to where you want to go faster, that's great. But the objective is to always answer the phone directly. All right. Hey, Paul, thanks for coming into the AfterSchrock. I appreciate it. Good morning, Carolyn from Round Rock, Texas. Good show. You accomplished your goal. Well, why don't I feel like I'm done then? I feel like I still have more work to do. Oh, golly. Sound is better on the AfterSchrock. Different microphone. Like I said, this new mic might be a little hot on the gain. That might be some board work. We'll work on figuring it out. You know that if it was hot here, I thought it was hot in my ears too, but I just thought it was my volume on my headphones. But the audio engineers here at KFAB will definitely get it figured out. All right, good morning. I want to bring my laptop in for the preventative maintenance check. Do you know how busy Village Point is? Village Point is actually at 25% capacity, so they have open bench spots there right now. So if you brought your computer in today, I don't want to promise you you'll get it back today because it's a short day. We're only open from noon to 5, but the odds of you getting it back tomorrow are really good. And I'm going to throw a warning out there. I should have said this during the show too. At the end of the maintenance checkup, we always get punched. People procrastinate, and then when they find out there's a hard deadline, they wait till like 2 days before the deadline, and then they move. So if you are planning on coming in, try to get in earlier in the week this week rather than later in the week if you can. All right. Hello, Mitch. Hey, Cheryl. Good to see you. All right, Wesley. No, they're running a show about Purity products right now on KMBZ. Okay. I will figure that out, Wesley. We're a small town, and we've been fortunate that the giving at our church has been fairly consistent, but it has fallen off. We are still able to pay our small staff and our bills, but others are definitely hurting. Yeah, so I guess, what would you think of a program like this, Joe? I mean, would something like that idea work, or is it... Sometimes you come up with a program or an idea. A great example was JCPenney. They had this community day thing where people from the community, like neighborhood associations and stuff, would come into a JCPenney and they would actually work. Like they'd have them folding towels or doing things, putting things up. But instead of paying them, they paid the community organization for their time. So in one way, it was a way for JCPenney to get a bunch of labor without paying employment taxes on it. So there was definitely a benefit to JCPenney. And if you've been to a JCPenney lately, they could sure use some more labor in there to fold those clothes. But it was nice there. But then the community organizations liked it as well. But it became this huge thing where there were meetings to go to, and you had to report for a certain day, and you had to have who is coming and how many people and what time are they staying, what time are they leaving. And then the check that the organization got was like for $200. And at the end of the day, you sat back and said, was it really worth all of the work? We put in hours and hours and hours of time for $200. Would it have just been better for me to take what I was going to pay the staff for doing that work and just donate that to somebody? Would I have done more good that way? So anyway, that's why I'm trying to think of a way that we can take what we do and scale it up. Like if we could do maintenance checkups on... Okay, so here's what happened. When we come in for a maintenance checkup, guys, if you've been in for one before, chances are we've already gone over your stuff 6 or 12 months ago, and everything is fine. There might be a little glitch here, a little glitch there. During the maintenance checkup, we fix most of those glitches for you for free, and then you go right up. We have a lot of people that go in and out for $50. Once in a while, we have somebody that comes in that has never been in for a maintenance checkup before, and they're like, okay, well, you've got garbage antivirus, all your third-party programs are out of date, your hard drive is bad, your power supply is bad, It's going to be like $700 to fix this. Don't you think you want to buy a new computer instead? But we'll give you the options, you know. And we had a customer say, no, I can't afford to fix it. I don't want to buy a new computer. I will pick it up and take it home. So they picked it up and took it home. Then they called back, bounced back in on a warranty ticket saying, my computer is still, when I first log into it, going to a black screen for like 35 seconds before the computer actually boots up. And we said, yeah, it is. Because your hard drive's bad, your power supply's bad, it's killing your motherboard, it's going to be $700 to fix it, or you should buy a new computer. This is an HP desktop. It was meant to last 18 months. Well, my last HP lasted years. That was your last HP. They don't make them like they used to. This HP, actually, I would fix because it's still made in the old style. The new ones are all chip on board, and when they go bad, you have to throw them away. There's literally nothing that can be done. And she was kind of taken aback by that. And then on the other hand, I got an interesting message on Facebook the other day from a customer who had a 12-year-old Schrock built computer. Built in 2012, so it was an 8-year-old Schrock computer. We advertise that Schrock computers last 4 to 6 years. Holiday specials last up to 10. So you can bet you're going to get between 4 and 10 years out of a Schrock desktop computer when you buy it. That's what we do. And so she brought hers in. It had a bad motherboard. And the guys in the shop are like, listen, this thing's 8 years old. The motherboard tech is 3 gens behind, which means her memory is still DDR2, I think. We could fix it, but you'd be much happier spending that money on a new computer. So their recommendation was, let's move you to a new computer because it's been 8 years. The technology has changed a lot. And she was distraught. She was like, I want my Schrock computer that I have. I want it fixed. And why can't you just fix it? And the answer is we can fix it. It just costs more to fix it than to buy a new computer. So she literally wanted us to fix it. So we did. So yeah, it was one of those things where, you know, we're here to provide options. And we'll give you a recommendation. But that recommendation, you don't have to follow it. But we're going to tell you what's going to happen if what you do and don't do. So by the time someone from a church came in for a free maintenance checkup, they may go out the door spending $100 or $150 on antivirus or, you know, virus removals or, you know, maybe a power supply, something like that. These are not typically $600 or $700 tickets. So we're talking about donating, you know, $10 or $15 for every customer from a church that comes in and has work done in the service center. And maybe we offer a free maintenance checkup to encourage the congregation to come in. So we're giving the member of the congregation a $90 value to have them come into the service center, but then providing the church with a financial benefit for referring them, like a referral bonus. Again, it sounds clinical when I describe it that way, but I want to be sure I'm really clear about what I'm thinking about, so that if you guys think it's going to work, great, and if you don't, then, you know, we'll probably, you know, the lovely Kimberly will probably tell me it's an idea for the ash heap, you know, if that's the case. All right. Mark says he thinks the 10% program's a go. Any plans on the holiday special? See, there's the lovely. I just scrolled down. The lovely Kimberly says, don't get him started, Mark. Oh, golly. The holiday special. Yes. We are terrified of the holiday special this year. We are honest to goodness, absolutely flipping terrified. The desktop is going to be easy peasy. We can do the desktop all day long because we do the desktop. We build everything. We're even building the card readers that are going into the desktop this year. Like, we're getting down to the point now where we're actually building our own internal components for these desktops because we can't buy what we used to be able to buy anymore. They don't make it anymore because they'd rather just put a slot in the plastic where you stick your card in. We want a replaceable device that if it stops working, we can take out that one device and put another one in. Oh, it doesn't make sense anymore, right? So anyway, the holiday special laptop is what has us terrified. As I mentioned earlier in the program, I am struggling. I do all the ordering, and I am struggling to find laptops, guys. Honest to goodness, struggling. Now, some of these things are constraints we place on ourselves. I don't want to buy Acer laptops because Acer laptops have had a historical tendency to break very easily, to be made from components that are less than superior, and that's not what we sell at Schrock. On the other hand, ASUS computers are literally the components that go into Dells and HPs, but without the restrictions that Dell and HP places on them. So it makes them an ideal platform for the modifications that we do after the fact. Now, last year we did a Dell for the holiday special. Why did we do a Dell? We went with Dell because the raw features that were offered in that computer overall were so far superior over the features that we could get in an Asus at that price point, because a funny thing happens to Asus when you cross the $1,000 threshold. So the holiday special laptop costs $1,500. That's what we buy it for. That's what we sell it for. It's a cost of $1,500. So, because the only way we make money on a holiday special is if you add stuff or transfer stuff. So it's really it's a fun holiday sale that we do. We sell anywhere from 75 to 150 laptops during that time. It's fun. So anyway, when you go to that $1,000 price point in an Asus, you get into the Republic of Gamers line, which is fine because the gamer laptops typically have the horsepower and the better screens and the backlit keyboards and all the nice things we look for in a holiday special laptop. The problem is the price, because gamers are willing to pay higher prices for laptops than consumers are. So you go from the $700-800 range in an Asus where our Gallant is at, and then you jump to $1,500 or $1,700 or $1,900. But the $1,500 Asus computer didn't have the same features that the $1,500 Dell did. For example, the last year the Dell Holiday Special had a 4K screen, 4K touch screen. Republic of Gamer computer is not 4K and it's not touch. Okay, the Dell laptop was an Ultrabook. It was a reversible tablet. The Republic of Gamers computer is a big, heavy, thick laptop. It's not sexy. It's not slim. It's intended for gamers. Okay. Now Asus is figuring this out, and they have a line of computers that's coming out. We're working with a new partner called D&H, and I have a meeting with them on Monday to talk about this very topic, because I'm not worried about the desktops at all, but the laptops, we have no idea what we're going to do right now, because the inventory is so thin. Literally, Asus is making us, like I said, give them the names of customers that we're going to sell them to, and we just give them a fake name. Because we don't know who's going to buy them yet. We don't know. But the question is, on the holiday special this year, I really, really, really wanted them in stock so that you could pick them up and take them home same day. I really wanted to do that this year. But if we can't buy 75 to 150 laptops in a single shot, if we're doing this thing where we contract to buy them, and then as they come into the supplier sends them to us, we can't have them in stock. So how do we do that? How do I get a guarantee? Because right now nobody will guarantee anything. They won't. I can't go and say I want to buy 75 of these laptops, between 75 and 150 if they're at this price point, and everybody says, sorry, we can't guarantee that we're going to be able to get them. D&H is a different kind of company. They have some advantages there that no one really knows about. And one of the reasons that we know about them is because Shelley, the front desk at the Des Moines Service Center, used to work for D&H selling Asus laptops across the country. So when I tell you that we have a star-studded staff in Des Moines, that's what I mean. That woman knows her stuff, knows her laptops, knows Asus like the back of her hand, and that's what we sell for laptops. So we're working on getting some solutions there. Hopefully we'll talk about this soon, because we're going to need to get test units in the field at least in October, which means in September we're going to need to buy them and test them ourselves. So fun times. Yay, Carolyn! I really wanted a positive show this week. And not that the shows are typically negative, but it's just so easy to go down that rabbit hole, because the doom, everybody listens to it. Everybody gloms onto it. Oh, what's coming next? Oh no! What's the next curse? Whereas it's a little tougher to listen to. What's the cool thing that Elon's staff did this week that stopped some ransomware attack? Not nearly as exciting, right? But this week I said, to heck with it. We're going to have a fun, exciting, positive show today. And we did, so yay. All right, I have a meeting with a pastor in the morning, and I'll check with him and get back. Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. So anyway, all right, last call for questions, guys. Also this week, I posted a picture on our Facebook page of a customer who brought us in a loaf of double chocolate zucchini bread. It was delicious. The entire staff devoured it. And I posted on it, because that's the thing. She was all apologetic when she gave it to us. She's like, I don't know if I can give you food right now because, pandemic. We all wear our masks and everything. She's handing us food in a plastic bag, And so I posted on Facebook, not even thinking. I'm like, is it safe to eat food from customers in a pandemic? And of course, the joke was, yeah, we're going to eat it. We don't really care if it's safe or not. We're going to eat it. It's good stuff. Our customers bring us good. We have a customer who once bring us an entire rack of ribs. Like, he walked in the door with a frozen rack of ribs, and like, we have a fridge for that, or a grill. What am I going to do with this? We had to run it home, put it in the freezer real quick. But when you help people out and you provide value to the extent that they feel like they haven't fairly compensated you by paying you for your time, that they're willing to bring you gifts, and it's little things like cookies and loaves of bread and stuff like that. It's not like, usually a rack of ribs. That I don't know how that even happened, but it makes us feel really good. So I posted on Facebook about it. My wife later that night was like, sometimes you need to think before you post, Thor. And I said, what do you mean? And I'm like, the zucchini bread was great. And she said, yeah, but it kind of sounded like you didn't appreciate it. And I wanted everybody to know that the zucchini bread was delicious and was very much appreciated. We were just being silly about it. Like, is it safe to eat food in a pandemic? Tune in next week to see if Thor's alive on Compute This. It was supposed to be a funny joke, and I didn't mean for it to be rude, but thank you for the zucchini bread. It was delicious. Alrighty. All right. Deborah wants your recipe, please. If you want to post your zucchini bread recipe, you can do that. We've had a request for a zucchini bread recipe. I'd love that Kimberly actually has a chocolate zucchini muffin recipe. I don't know if she'll share it, though. We'll see. She's probably like, dang it, now I got to try to copy and paste and do all this on my phone, and there's 2 kids hanging on me right now. They got up right when Thor did, 5:40 in the morning, because I got out of bed, and then they all woke up too. Yeah, she's loving life right now, I bet. Anyway, all right. So coming up this week, guys, if you do have the time, please do vote for us in the best of or the Sarpy County People's Choice Award, as well as the best of Lincoln. The best of Lincoln. We have been in Lincoln for 21 years. In 21 years, we have never won first place in this contest. Best Buy always wins first place. And yes, it's a name recognition thing. We get that. We always come in second every year for 21 years. I would love to come in first just one time. And yes, I know it's a little pride and it's a little ego, but it's also for my staff. It's like these guys are like, every year they're like, doesn't matter how many votes we ask for, Best Buy is going to win, because everybody's for best computer repair, everybody just says Best Buy. That's it. The word best is even in the name. So anyway, if you have the time to vote for us in the Best of Lincoln contest, this one is the one that's ending more quickly. Of course, the Sarpy County contest is also available, the People's Choice, Sarpy County People's Choice Award. And I'll put a link up for that as well here in just a second. But if you have the time to do it, I would very much appreciate it. There's no contest or anything involved in these guys. Unfortunately, they didn't run concurrently. So we weren't able to do a contest that encompassed all of them, and honestly, it's not about buying votes. The reason we offer the laptop, there's a lot of extra things that we want. The actions that we want you to take are actually more valuable to us than the vote itself. So like the reviews, the likes, the follows, the shares, things like that. Those are all way more important to us than a vote in a competition. But of course, we love to be voted number one like anybody else does. So if you have the time to vote for us in those competitions, I would sincerely appreciate it. Of course, we'll all be voting as well. But thank you, Tracy, congratulating us on 21 years. Top fan, Tracy Clark, appreciate it. And Kimberly says, okay, we have a recipe. Sally's Baking Addiction. Her double chocolate zucchini bread muffins are a favorite in our house. So they're the double chocolate zucchini bread / muffins. And let's get a link here. Let's see. Sally Baking Addiction. Paste all those stuff Kim said. And double chocolate zucchini bread. Now, my wife makes these up into muffins, which actually they look like chocolate cupcakes. My daughter's special needs, and she loves her chocolate cupcakes. And because there's vegetables in them, the kids just devour them. Even my teenage son eats these things. And they're like, vegetables? There's vegetables in this? Because it tastes like you're eating a chocolate muffin. So there you go. Sally's Baking Addiction, double chocolate zucchini bread is your recipe of the week on Compute This. No problem, Deborah. All right, guys, I got to roll. Got to get home and take those littles off my wife's lap so that she can get a shower in and and get started on her day. The Des Moines Service Center is open, so for those of you, if you would please like and share the broadcast, it means a lot to us. We're adding new fans exponentially right now. I think we're almost over 3,000 fans. So if you have not already clicked like or clicked follow, make sure you follow Schrock Innovations. That way when we do a live broadcast, you don't have to go hunting for it. It just pops right up in your feed. And then I guess I'll be in the Des Moines Service Center on Monday and probably on Thursday. In the Lincoln Service Center briefly on Tuesday. I try to get into all of them at least once a week. And Papillion I'm in pretty frequently because that's kind of the hub. That's like that's like our UPS hub, where everything goes in and out. So I'm in there quite a bit. And the Omaha Service Center, I try to get in there at least once a week. Go through the data recovery lab, make sure Brian's got everything under control there. But now I've got a great assistant in that in Parker. And Parker has been going service center to service center for me, making sure that everybody's needs are taken care of, that all the customers are getting great service, and when there is a training issue or situation, he can handle it for me. So it's not like I don't feel wanted anymore or anything, or needed. But, I still try to get in once a week. It's like proof of life appearance, Oh, have you heard about that Kim Jong-un thing where, they're wondering if maybe he really has been dead since, months ago? No one, they were thinking now that the video of him in public was faked video. Interesting stuff. So anyway, deep fakes coming at you. All right, I got to roll, guys, but thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Make sure you pop into the Schrock Innovations new location in West Des Moines, Iowa, if you can. It's open today from noon to 5. They had their busiest day ever, which is kind of funny to say because they've been open for a week. They've had their busiest day ever yesterday in there, so that was awesome. But on their busiest day ever, they only had the bench about 10% full. So you can do the math on that and figure out they have plenty of bench spots, we have plenty of staff, and we have great turnaround times to get you your technology back really quickly, especially when you're bringing it in for that free checkup. Also, this is the final week of the preventative maintenance checkup sale. If you haven't already purchased a certificate, make sure you go to SchrockInnovations.com, click on Shop and then Specials, and you can add a preventative maintenance certificate to your cart. Get one for each computer that you want to get, and then you check out there, and then you'll have those certificates that are good for 6 months going forward, so you can come in and get the sale price at a time that's convenient for you. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I hope you have a great week.